All right. So can you hear me all right? Does it sound fine? Check, check, check.
Yeah, that's some really great ASMR.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir. All right, dude, let's do this.
Awesome. Well, first of all, again, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
I'm really not even sure why, but for some reason, every single person I talked to in the last 6 months, they all know you.
Hopefully it's good things.
No, no,
Hopefully.
it's mainly good things, mainly good
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that made me like super, super curious. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I keep seeing him everywhere. You show up on my Facebook feed every single day. I don't think you even post every single day, or do you?
No, not
Yeah.
always. Not always.
That makes it even more interesting because it does pop up like every single day. I'll see your name or someone will mention you in NHB. And I'm just sitting here like, God damn, I'm posting every single day, but I doubt I get as much reach as this guy.
Yeah, dude, I mean, there's some strategic things behind it, but I also think there's a little bit
Hmm.
of luck, but definitely down to share what I've learned because I've been on Facebook for man, since I started my agency when I was 14, or I started doing drop shipping, then I switched over to helping drop shippers with like their websites around then too. So I was like 14 and a half, 15-ish. And I got all my clients through Facebook. So I've just been on using Facebook for customer acquisition organically for almost 7 years now. So it just, yeah, been on it so long and learned a lot of how it works or how people just interact on it and what they respond to or like. And I think that's just how it adds up and works out well. So
Yeah, like you have a pretty crazy story. Like every now and then I will meet someone who's like, oh yeah, I started when I was 15 or 16. And I think you're probably one of the most famous people with that story. So how exactly did you get into it? Like
yeah,
what
yeah,
happened?
I'll give you the speed run version, but pretty much I always say and left shared because I don't like to admit facts or the real reason why I feel like I was able to get ahead. And it's not because I had rich parents, not because I stumbled across something that no one else had. The real like secret to all of this and my upcoming was being homeschooled. I had the unfair advantage of time, and so I had more time to learn and to implement than anyone else my age did, just because I wasn't stuck in
Mhm.
school. And so I had time to be on YouTube. I had time to be on Facebook. I had time to like learn and do all that kind of stuff. Whereas other kids, they were in school for however long real school is, what, 7, 8 hours? I don't even know. Like however, it was a long time. Whereas like I
It's
could just
about
get my
8 hours.
schoolwork done. Yeah, I could get my schoolwork done before 10 o'clock and I had the rest of the day. Or I could stay up super late because I didn't have to wake up early, whatever it was. Like I had more time. And so looking back now, I see that as like was an original advantage. And then of course, just like the right time, the right place. And what got me into all this was some biz op guru running ads, selling like Shopify drop shipping. Like that was a new thing. Like that
Yeah.
was like it's crazy because I've almost been in this game for about 8 years. Like this is my eighth year. And so I feel
Hmm.
like I've just seen so much. It's like only 8 years. Like there's people who've been in this way longer. Um, but it's just crazy, like the cycles. Like that was like new. And I remember when like Ty Lopez dropped like the first agency course ever, and that was like new. Like I was a consumer of those webinars at that time. And so yeah, I just like stumbled into that. And so I got into drop shipping, then freelance for stores, and then I did then I went to local business stuff, and then I went into copyright, all this stuff. So it was like this transition of different services from there. Launched my first offer when I think I was 15 or 16. It's called the Cold Messaging Kings. If you go on Google, it's
Sick.
still being resold. Then I launched the Sales Kings. Then I did Profile Funnel Secrets, and I had a bunch of these different offers that kind of rode trends and in that whole world of like lead gen and client acquisition, and then moved into publishing and did all of that. And so that's like the speed run version, but that's how I got started. It was just being homeschooled, having time, and a biz op guru roping me into this world.
That's such a crazy story. Was anyone around you that was like kind of in that world, maybe your parents or in marketing or something,
Yeah.
or was it just you?
So I mean, the closest thing would be like my dad. So it's funny, like my dad was like one of the original, or like was in the world of like the original high ticket closers. So he worked with like Tony Robbins and then Chet Holmes on
Mhm.
their offer together. So my dad was like one of their number closers in the division. And so I grew up like hearing my dad on like high ticket sales calls. and like being in his office, like hearing him like close people and enroll them. And he also would speak for David Allen, who is like a productivity coach. He has a book called Getting Things Done. And he would speak on stage. And so my dad would close from stage. And so maybe it's my blood, maybe I just saw it, but that was like the closest thing I'd say. So I remember like going to his business events and like he'd give me a notepad and
No
pen and
way.
he'd like take notes and like I could barely spell. So I just like doodling and trying to like write down the diagrams and whatnot. So I think at a very young age,
Acquisition.
yeah, yeah. What is Biz? I'm just kidding. MLM. I remember once he brought me to an MLM meeting, and I didn't realize it was till later. It was some random MLM thing, and I was like, dude, I like, remember the feeling of like, dude, we can actually make money from this. I'm like 8 years old, like they were selling me. I'm like, telling me I could like recruit these people, and then I look back, I'm like, dude, I was in an MLM meeting. I almost got roped in. Yeah. So, so that was it. I mean, no friends, no one else. Now that I'm meeting a lot of guys as this gets more popular, who are, you see the wave of the Tates and the Iman Gods. They're going very mainstream, this niche, very like subculture where most people, if I go up to somebody and I was like, SMMA, like if I said that is a random guy who's 14, 16, 17 years old, he'd probably know what that is. Or like dropshipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I coached baseball this last year for a freshman high school team and this last spring. And they're like, "What do you do, coach? Make money?" I'm like, "Oh, I guess marketing. Like, I don't know how to explain it." They're like, "Drop shipping agency." I'm like, "How do you guys know what this is?" Like, I was getting like kind of bullied back when I was your age playing baseball at the same school because people thought I was doing some scammy
Yeah.
online stuff. So it's just crazy
Feel
how
you.
fast to progress. But yeah, not many other people around me were into it.
That's such a crazy, crazy story, man. But that's so
Yeah.
awesome that your dad was doing all that stuff already. Like, I think sometimes we don't even realize because it feels like a lot of online marketers, they're in the game for like a few years, but then you meet some other people like 20, 30, 40, 50 years and like, oh shit, like there were OGs. There were
Yeah.
OGs.
Yeah. It's crazy. I know. I feel like, I know so many guys have been in like two times, three times longer than I have. And so yeah, I think I'll always want to be in this kind of game, of course, in business, but the play isn't just to stay in internet marketing. Like the play is to use this as a stepping stone to get into other things. I think the guys who last the longest do that and
Hmm.
don't get burned out, just from people I've interviewed and talked to. And there's a lot of guys I know who like I was just telling my friend who's just in here with me, I was telling him how like three different people who have built massive like high ticket course programs or coaching programs, whatever, like in the space, like $10 million a year level, which I would say is like, not many people make it to that point, but that's like you've
Yeah.
kind of made a decent amount of money in internet marketing if you hit that. But like I've talked to them separate occasions, just one on one or over like voice messages, and they're always telling me, they're always like, man, if I could just go back and be at your level where you're not like man, Josh, if I could just not have like a huge team to manage and like you just can do whatever you want, like you can just like vibe. You don't have to be stressed out. Like I would do it so fast. Like they're like giving me warnings, like don't do what we did. Like yes, you make a lot of money, but profit margins are slim. The stress is crazy. And they're telling me this, and I'm like, geez. And so I've learned a lot from guys who have gotten burnt out and people who
Hmm.
haven't. And I'm trying to not and just find the perfect path because it's crazy. Like another thing too, I was talking to one of these guys, and he was telling me how one of his friends, who's a very well-known guy in our industry, works like sales reps and stuff like that. But he had to like this guy, he was on a birthday trip like in another country, and he had to fly home, leave his own birthday trip like 3 or 4 days early to come fight fires in his business that were going on just because he has a massive company. And so he didn't have the
Shit.
freedom to even like at that level, like to just hang out for his own birthday. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why would I ever do that? And it's sad because think of all these people who look up to people like that and say, I want a business at that level. I want to make that much money, but they don't know what comes with that.
They
Or they're
would be
sold
so
into a,
unhappy.
yeah, they're being sold into a business opportunity that is going to get them something they don't even want. I was sold the dream of like passive income or automated income from agents or like doing agents and drop shipping. But then I did it. I built up the agency. I even hired setters, closers, media buyer. Like I was completely removed. Yeah, I was still stressed because I was managing the team. I was on calls with them every morning and night
Yeah.
doing end of day, start of day. It's like, sure, I could have held or even less. And so it's like, how much do I need to do to finally get to this dream I was sold of like passive income, right? It's like they don't tell you that from the start, which makes sense. It's marketing. They got to sell me into it somehow. But I'm just learning more and more how yeah, there's always gonna be a cost, and it comes down to like figuring out what do you want to be responsible for and what do you not want to be responsible for.
Mm.
Some people are fine being responsible for all that stuff, and others aren't. And some people think they don't have to be responsible for anything, and then they give up and they don't make it in this game. So it's a balance, and you really have to just constantly like be self-aware of what it is you want and don't want. I feel like.
Yeah, personally, I feel like you will never truly reach 100% passive income or anything. I truly don't believe it exists. There's until up till a certain extent, you still have to do some work. Like there's no way. Even if you get the managers, you got to talk to them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I was talking to a guy, one of my mentors, who introduced me to the model of publishing offers back when I was about, it was 2019, maybe I was like 16 or 17. I met him at an event in
They're
Las
crazy.
Vegas. His name's Mark Lack, and we had an interview. I interviewed him, and he was just talking about how like he sets up his offers, he publishes to exit, and then he'll exit his companies, and then he's getting like he gets money that will kind of give him enough money for like 5 years worth of annual income up front. So it gives him like 5 years to kind of chill or plan the next move. And I feel like sure in that stage of life feels pretty passive. Like he doesn't have to work at that point. But still, when you have the money, then you're thinking about what am I rolling this into next? Like you're always on that treadmill trying to like move the money to the next space. And so I feel like that's the one time I think you get there and be like, okay, I've gotten like a huge exit. I can kind of chill for a bit and semi-retire for a few months. But eventually you're gonna want to get back into the game anyways. Like I feel like people get bored if they're sitting around.
You'll definitely get tired. Like I wanted to retire in
Oh,
2022, so I did for like 8 months. I worked an hour a day max, like usually like 15, 30 minutes. And I just hated my life more and more. Like all this fun
dang.
stuff is not fun anymore. The fun stuff is now the stuff I don't do. So like, you know what? I'll get back.
Yeah, dude. And it was funny because I was talking to this Mark Lack, and he was telling me how he's like he would call his friends like, hey, let's go to the shooting range. Let's go out, let's go do something. They're like, we can't, like we're working. And so he's like, yeah, you get all this time and freedom, you can hang out with your friends, but all of them are stuck working. Like you're not
Yeah.
you're gonna just be alone. And it's really interesting too, because like I got married about a year ago. It'll be a year and about like 10-ish days here. So
Congratulations.
thank you. And my wife, like she just graduated college, and we're very blessed where she doesn't have to like go right into a career. Like she can just chill and I can cover everything and we'll be fine. And so she's been kind of like relaxing and just like enjoying not being in school and like enjoying the summer. And recently she started getting back onto like working on a photography business because last year she like grinded it throughout the summer, like made a bunch of money from that, took on a lot of clients, but was really exhausted and tired. And so this year she's like, I'm just gonna like chill and not do it for a while. And she started working on it. I was like, you get back into it, like you want to start doing it more. And she's like, yeah, like it's kind of boring, just kind of sit around. Like it had nothing to do. And I'm like, dude, yeah, like I totally get it. And so it's very interesting because in one of my favorite books in the Bible, Ecclesiastes, it's written by King Solomon, richest, wisest king in the world. And he wrote Proverbs, which I feel like more people know that book. But he talks about how like we're supposed to enjoy our toil, like us humans, like we were created to enjoy our toil on this earth, and then to enjoy the riches we get from our toil, and then just like to keep going. And so it's very interesting how like, the guy with the most money, who had like all the kingdoms, who had all the success, even he realized like, dude, this is boring. And so I think yeah, chasing passive income and just the dream of like not doing anything is like I don't know, not really worth it. I mean, if anything, sure, chase the 4 hour work week, or for me, like the 4 hour work day, like for years now, I've just worked like 4 hours a day. And for some seasons, I'd go to 6 hours a day. And then that's pretty much all you really need, I feel like. And so, yeah, I feel like I'd get bored.
So what's the next goal for Josh?
Ooh, buy a house. I mean,
Yes.
that's just like the life. Dude, when you get married, your goals shift a lot. And
Yeah.
luckily, I mean, I wanted to get married since I was young, like ever since I was 14. The goal is to build a business and like cash flow and be really like successful. So I could get married and not worry about finances. And so we're here now, and I'm like, okay, like what's next? And So I think there's goals like me, taking me and my wife to Italy, like that's a dream of hers. So taking her to Italy for 2 weeks. Um, there's goals like uh, the, getting a house, sure, right? Getting our first
Mhm.
house, that'd be pretty dope. But I think like bigger goals, that bigger meaning is like number one, bringing people like hope.
Mhm.
I really just want to give people hope in like this game. Like I feel like uh, that's something I want to do with just like my story and whatnot. And I'm not even just saying that because I have some like course to sell on that or whatever. Like I literally have like a $15 a month offer at some people. Like that's it. Like I don't have
Hey,
anything
what's the
attached
link?
to it. Yeah, link. Change. So that's it. But like literally, I just feel like that's a big one. Is like, how can I give people more hope? I don't know what that
Mhm.
looks like. Not that I need to monetize it at all, but that's just something I want to do. Big thing is just like just so I'm an intern at my church, and so I intern
Mhm.
and help with that. And so just like continue to disciple and work with the people around me, and then like business related, I want new experiences. I'm really motivated by experiences. So it's not that I want to get to new levels because of the money that comes with that. It's like I want to experience what it feels like to deal with problems you get when you're doing 500,000 a month, right? Or a million a month. Like, what do you deal? Like, what are the real problems? Like, I know the problems that come with the 50, 60, 70, 80, even 100, but what are the problems at the next level? And I
Mhm.
don't like not like I don't like feeling like I haven't experienced a lot of things. Like I don't want to be just average. I'd like to
Mhm.
be just a little bit over, like above average in areas, and so I feel like that comes with experiences. So related to business, that's like my big goal is just achieve new experiences at new levels, just for the sake of knowing I've experienced it. So I'd say those are like the main three.
I feel like you truly love the game and everything that comes with it and learning. Because whenever I hear about you, it's like this guy implements super fast. Like you tell him one thing, he learns it, he does it pretty much immediately, same day, and it's just done.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I try. I think sadly, as I've been in this game longer, I think that's starting to slow down. I'm trying to get back to it, just because if you get too deep into the weeds, man, and like go super deep into concepts and theories and I don't know, all this like you get too into it, there's just too much to think about. Whereas before, it was just like, just help me understand a base principle, and then I can just like go out
Mhm.
and apply it or like figure out a way to apply it, and I wouldn't worry about like the deep, like what about this or oh this or that, and I would just go out there and test it, and it always works super well. And so now
Mhm.
for me, I'm like trying to pull myself away from going super deep and just get back to just like bootstrap Josh, like in the basement of my parents' house, just like screw it, I've got time to figure it out. Let me just test it. And so I for a season, I feel like I got away from that, but now I'm just going back to it. Like I always felt like I needed to like get feedback on everything or understand the deep
Yeah.
principles and processes and whatever. And then I just slow down and it's weeks before I implement something. Whereas like, let me just throw it out. I think I can always fix it later. So
You'll see
yeah,
if
I'm
it
trying to,
works.
yeah. Like I'll just, I don't know. Like here's the thing. I think I know why that is. I mean, when I was 14, I felt like I had so much life ahead of me, and I still do. I mean, we can't. There's no promise of tomorrow, of course, but I think back then in your mind, like I have so much time because you're so young, so you don't care if like you fail. And I really leaned into that. And so now I have to like remind myself, like I'm just 22. Okay, let's say I lived like 80 years old, means I still have like 60 years. And I'm like, I didn't even live for 6 years yet. Like I only live for
Mhm.
20. So that's like three of my lifetime still to go. Think how much and then you really chunk it down. You're like, dang, dude, like let me just throw this out here. Like, who cares? Like, what is 3 days of a failed test gonna affect 60 years of my life? Um, so that's how I'm trying to look at it, but it's definitely not easy. It's a daily reminder I'm having to process.
Yeah. You have a lot of different offers going on right now, or no?
Yeah, I had a lot more before. Uh, I went, dude, last year, or this winter, like last year in winter. So like I got married July last year, and like
Hmm.
leading up to July, I was grinding. Like I was like just pulling in deals, starting offers. I was like, I'm gonna just stack up because I want to go on my honeymoon, just relax. So I did that. Then we got married, had 2 months, just chilling, great time, just honeymooning, just vibing. And then my wife goes back to school, and it's winter and it's cold in Minnesota, so there's nothing else to do. So I'm like, let me just like, just gonna grind, dude. Like I got all this time. Like, let me instead of working 4 hours, I'm gonna do six, sometimes eight, and just do that. And so I was like, there's a point for like 2 months, or maybe it was like a month and a half. I was like launching an offer every week, and so some of these, just to be clear, were like offers under one market. So like if I had an offer in, a design market, it's like I'm launching like as a catalog. So, but it still that offer would be front end offer, have upsells, bumps, whole thing. So it was like got to the point where we could get like I was doing like a week, which was like I mean the quality probably wasn't amazing, but like who cares if it's selling? Like oh no, like maybe it's not the most beautiful copy that I'd make like a copywriter weep and be like this is amazing, but like it was still working. Like I have a friend, he always like roasts my VSL. He's like, dang, this thing sucks. Like what? And I'm like, bro, it's look, here's a ROAS. It's suck it. Like
What color is
shoot.
your ROAS?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, show me like let me see. Or like the engagement's way up. And so I'm like, dude, be quiet. Like I forget that judgment. And so yeah, I did that. I was doing like a ton of offers then. And now though I just learned, I was like, dude, like starting from zero is really hard. Like I used to
Yeah.
think that scaling an offer and optimizing an offer was harder than just launching new ones. But
Hmm.
because I was like, dude, you have like so many tweaks or whatever. But then I realized that I had an offer that I started to like, I was running and I was doing it like it was like an offer I'd stuck with for the longest, like a whole year. I was optimizing this one offer. And I realized how much easier it got as I kept going. And I was like, dude, this is so much easier. Like you're just making a few tweaks, changing a few headlines, just testing new ads. Like I kind of sit around and wait for the test feedback to come. I'm like, dude, this is great. Like I just need more of these. And so I distilled down and I went down to just having three offers that I run and three of their publishing offers. So I have a split of like the profit and some of
I
them
got
are
you.
just like overall cash collected. And then I also have some like sure my own, like I have, lowticketoffers.com, which is under my personal brand. And then I consult as well. And so I just went down to just doing those three. And then the goal is to like scales up to a certain point and have those running and then take that money and then roll it into, something else in the future and just kind of look like I'm looking for like these are great. I see these offers being great, like 100,000 a month offers. One of them I see being like 250, 300.
Hmm.
But some of them are like just stepping stones. I can see they're just like these would be great cash flowing companies. And then I'm looking for like the offer that I can roll my money into that's going to be like,
The one.
the big numbers, right? Like
Yeah.
where it's like, whoa, this is mass market, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I think a lot of the offers I'm in are very niche. Like the two of them are, one is a little broader, but I'm thinking like, hey, what's the next mass market one? Whether it's software, I've also thought about e-commerce, getting back into that. A couple other ideas I'm playing with, but that's what I run right now.
Are you planning on an exit and like reinvest the money? Like, I'm not sure if you have
I
equity
don't
or just
know.
rush
I
out.
need to learn better about how to set up my offers I publish like for exit.
Hmm.
But it'd be more so just like the cash I'm pulling from that, like take that, pocket that, or like invest it
Yeah, yeah.
into set it aside, and then I would use that money to cash flow and bootstrap my next offer. And then that offer I would set up to exit and like be learn more about that. So that's like the I feel like the next level of publishing game, which my mentor Mark Lack, he's done, and like he is like one of the biggest publishing companies. Like he does like the Mike Tyson, launches. Like I think he did like that OG like Jake Paul one back in the day. Like all the
No way.
celebrities, like people think it's crazy they're publishing someone with like 100,000 followers, and he does like the people with like 10 million, 12 million, 15 million like follow like huge brands like that. So and he's been a part of like some of the biggest like launches in the game, and so I'm trying to like learn from his journey and
Hmm.
replicate that in similar ways. So we'll see what happens.
Shit. Yeah, I was under the impression that your main thing was like the low ticket membership. Is that still the number one thing you do, or is it also with high
Nah,
ticket?
dude, that's like the smallest income
Mhm.
producing thing I do. Um, like if you do the pie chart, it'd be like the smallest section. So
Shit.
yeah, it's not. It's like I love it, and but that's like my contribution. It's like I'm always going to monetize part of it because it gives me incentive to keep like bringing the community good
Yeah.
stuff. Like, like 15 a month. Like, I want to make sure it's like worth it for that. And I feel like we do give a lot there for just $15 a month, and even just like the
Yeah.
interviews we run in there and whatnot. And bringing it, I have access to a lot of like people I've worked with. I can bring in, and we'll just like we had Rob Quinn the other month just come in and just give us all his SOPs for building a sales team and setters to send low ticket buyers to the back end, just like gave for free. And that's like the stuff he gave for free is stuff I paid him like $6,000 plus back in like 20, like, it's not like, dude, this is awesome. And so, yeah, I love it for that. But it's definitely not the main one. I plan to scale it like at some point I start running ads to it. But for now, it's like a way I can scratch the itch of having an own offer with my name on it that I'm proud of without, relying on. Because I don't want to like build a business that relies on me being the face and like having to constantly be on camera. And so like my publishing offer is like that's what covers that. Like that
Yeah.
my face is on and that's what runs it. And then I also do like consulting, which would probably be like the second biggest like part of the pie chart, I'd say.
Yeah, I asked my audience, like, hey, what do you want me to ask this guy? And almost every single person was like, low ticket, low ticket. We want to know more about the low ticket.
A low ticket. You guys all want what do you guys want to know? A low super easy. Sell something cheap. Bro, here's what I don't get. Low ticket is super easy. Like it doesn't take much to sell a $3 to $27 product.
Mhm.
That's easy. And I remember I told people it was last year before I got married. I was telling people like, dude, low tickets coming up. We see that trend coming back. Everyone's gonna be talking about it, and a lot of people are gonna get into low ticket, and they're gonna be doing it, and they're gonna have success with it. But the next problem they're gonna run into is how do you actually ascend like take a $3 to $27 buyer and turn them into a $5,000 buyer, or
Yeah.
how do you get them to buy other products from you, right? And it's like the age-old question people struggle with is like, how do I make sure I'm not giving away too much of my front end that it cannibalizes the upsell path? And that's a true art of low ticket. Like it's not the marketing or the messaging or what the offer is or what your bonuses are. Like, dude, like I did 207 calls in the last less than 12 months where I built out people's offers just on the spot, hour long call. What's your market? What's your process you teach them? Okay, here's your front end, order bump, upsells. Here's your back end, go build it. Like I have 207 of those about. And the common question was like, what should my bonuses be? And I'm like, no, like, does
Doesn't
not, I
matter.
don't care. Like, is that your bonuses are not going to make or break this? Like, who cares what that is? Throw some random stuff in there. Like, they probably won't even look at it in some markets. And so, yeah, it's just interesting. A lot of people get caught up in like the wrong parts of low ticket. And so for me, like, I'm trying to like actually teach people how to create products that ascend or create a better customer or like actually help, lead them to other products. That's the art I've been mastering and I feel like I've gotten good at. And instead of focusing on like the copy or the VSLs and all that stuff that people like look at and like this looks terrible. It's like doesn't matter. Like I just need once I get that $3 buyer, that's easy. The heavy lifting, I'm gonna focus on the back end.
Would you recommend people to like start organic or paid ads?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a big fan of like, I mean, here's the thing, organic, you have to spend your time to build the audience. So if you have more
Yeah.
time than money, then yes. If you have more money than time, then just go right to cold. But if you can, like when you're doing organic first, start with the intent of I'm going to use my organic to fund my paid ads. So
Mhm.
like pocket all the money or as much money as you can from that to like run
Okay.
ads. So you should just make a goal where it's like I tell people they should spend at least like $100 a day on ads to start. You can get
Mhm.
away with less. One of my not OG, I was like 3 years old, 2 years old, offers was the organicrootmethod.com. And that one I started with like $30 a day in spend, got to like break even, and I went to 50, 60, and then Bailey, for his last name, Bailey something. It's like really hard, Polix or something. He has expertsagency.com. He helped me scale like in a short amount of time. It's like $300 to $600 a day in ad spend, just like rolling that money over. So you can increase the spend, just like re-put the money back in, if your ROAS is good and if that's happening. But like I started off very very small, so I think people should set a goal where it's like, okay, I want to spend $100 on ads. That let's say it's 30, you have 31 days in the month. Let's just say it's 30 days. Okay, I need $3,000. It's like, how can I make $3,000 from the organic audience so I can get to ads as fast as possible? So that I can just kind of chill in my ads manager and not dance around on social media doing organic. Like I think that's what people should do. And then it's like, okay, then you that whole month you go to pay ads, you spend the 3,000. Maybe you lose it. Oh well, it's like that your organic audience paid for
Pays
that,
for
like
the
it's fine
lesson.
money. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Okay, go back to organic, farm it again, come back to ads and try again. But most likely you're gonna at least liquidate some spend. You maybe will lose like half of it if it's not gonna be that crazy. And if anything, you just acquired a bunch of relationships that you can now sell more stuff to. And you just make that money back. So that's how I would approach it.
I think a lot of people are extremely, extremely afraid of starting an offer, whereas they feel super comfortable. I charge thousands and thousands, but me spending 30 bucks a day, that's very scary.
So
So
true. I know.
how
Huh.
would you explain to someone that it actually makes much more sense to start their own low ticket offer?
I don't know. I think I honestly, I mean, this might be a little different, like answer than what you may think, but I think there's a lot of people who shouldn't get into the offer game.
Hmm.
Um, I think there's a lot of people who are not built for it. They don't actually want it. It's kind of like think about like the whole passive income from agency. There's a lot of people like the dream of it and the idea, but they don't want what comes with it. So like I did a recent video on my YouTube channel where I talked about like what it takes to be an offer publisher, and I just kind of talked to people like about the cons and of like the model and what it requires, so that people could just become aware of it. Because I think there's this romantic identity being put out there of like I own an offer, like I do offers and whatnot, but um, like there's a lot of cons that come with it. So I've been trying to get people aware of it, but in like the cons being like, yeah, you have to spend money on ads. You have to, you're responsible for the product if you're not publishing someone. You have to, you're constantly tweaking the funnels. You're doing the support. Like when you're just doing client work, like honestly, dude, if you think about it, you can make client work sound more romantic than offer ownership. Like if I wanted to run an offer, I was trying to sell people on the idea of being a copywriter right now. You can spin the message super well, and that's why copywriting offers did so well. It's like you're not responsible for the product, you're not responsible for support, right? All these things, and then
Yeah.
you have the argument though, where it's like, man, clients suck. They tell you what to do. They pay 3,000, they make 100, and then people are like, yeah, that's so unfair. It's like you're an offer, and they get into it, and they're like, oh shoot, I actually don't want to be responsible for all this. So
Yeah.
I honestly think not everyone should get into it. Now, I think if people have big aspirations to make a lot of money and to build a big business and to not just be told by someone what to do, yes, get into offer ownership. I think if someone wants to be an assembler, like to put pieces together, get into offer ownership. Like I don't run my sales team. I hire someone to do it. I don't run my ads. I have someone who does that. My emails, I have someone who does that. Like I've found ways where I'm not responsible for everything over time. But to get started, yes, you will be responsible for things. So that's why I always ask people, like, what do you really want? How do you want to make your money? How do you want to fulfill? And some people just aren't really built for it. And that's fine. Like, that's okay. Go do client work. Like, some people are happy making $5,000 a month and just being responsible for sending a few emails a week and just doing that. But again, there's cons with every model, dude. I could point out so many like cons with every single structure. And so that's why it comes down to like, what are you, like I said before, you have to figure out what do you want to be responsible for? What do you not want to be responsible for? And what costs are you willing to put up with to get the outcome you want? And just start finding that balance and test things out. So, but for doing client work, I mean, one of my, like my organic group method offer brought me most of my done for you build out deals. And like people are like, how do you get like funnel build out deals? It's like it was actually for my offer that top people group funnels, which is like how does that make sense? But again, that's the back end ascension stuff I'm talking about, where there's ways you can transition people to other products. So I think if you have a client focused business, like you can still use low ticket offers to get more clients or consulting deals. So you can apply it anywhere.
Feel like it's pretty natural transition for people who are in the game for more than 5 years or 3, 4, 5 years. They slowly start to realize like they might want to do something else. I think it's pretty natural that the longer you do something, you kind of fall out of love with it, and then you
Yeah.
want to try the next challenge, and which
Yeah.
is very often your own offer instead of working on an offer with a client.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I mean, that's why I like the publishing model for those people where it's like they want more ownership, they want more responsibility. And it's like, dude, if you're a copywriter who's like written sales messaging for ads, funnels, emails, even if it's just ads or whatever, it's like, okay, if you go find, it'll be very easy for you to just go find, like to run ads and build the funnels and do all that stuff required to do offers. The only hard part really is like finding a good product to do it for. So I think in the offer publishing game, the issue won't be like acquiring the skills to sell the product. Today's age, just finding good products to be a part of and to sell. So for me, like the intention I put out into like the universe, if you want to call it that, or just whatever, the intention is like I want to attract solid products, like unique, novel products. Like I'm just trying to put that out so I can attract those kind of people to me so that I can like be a part of that project and do my skill set to scale it up. because that's what I look for in good offers. So
So
for anyone that
what
wants to get into publishing, like don't worry about the marketing stuff. That's easy to acquire. You can hire someone, you can learn it very easily. But it's just more so finding good products to publish. Like that's because that's what anything comes down to is like the product, like that will make or break
yeah.
any campaign. So that's what I look at.
What are the key things that you look for?
Yeah. Right now it's like so this thing it's a recent epiphany I've had, but it's like novelty. It's like things that are new. Like any offer I've launched that's really taken off. Like there's actually something new about it or disruptive. It disrupts the market. And there's actually something new to it. It's not just in the messaging. It's not like I'm trying to like put a fresh paint of coat on something that's old, pretending it's new. Like I'm not just slapping AI on the end of something and being like, it's new, like actually new. Where I'm like, dude, like this is crazy. And that's something for one of my. I just took on a fitness offer I'm publishing, and I took it on because it's super new and novel, very niche down, but like it's super novel where it's like there's a specific 12 to 24-minute workout these men do, and the results are crazy. And it's not just a workout; it's like their energy, everything. And so I'm like, that's really novel, and so I'm like, I want to be a part of that. And so that's the first thing I look at is like new, and that's really hard today because there's so much stuff out there that isn't. Uh, but if you branch out of like the internet marketing space, you'll find a lot of new
Is that
stuff.
out?
Like I had a
Yeah.
friend, yeah, like this friend, he does like a mom who helps like teaching babies how to sleep, like when you have a newborn baby, like sleep training.
I think I've seen that one. I think yeah.
Yeah, and
I
or like
subscribe.
yeah, like nursing, like teaching, like dude, like I'm like dude, give me in those offers. Like that sounds sweet. Like that's never going away. Like babies are always being born. It's a huge pain point. So like if you get out of this whole internet marketing space, which is like this should be the goal. Like I only have one offer that's like in kind of internet marketing. It's like a LinkedIn lead gen type thing.
Hmm.
So it's just more so lead gen focused. It's not like a biz op. But even that's like it's very like traditional LinkedIn-y. It's not like the guy, the guru, he's not some young dude. He's very traditional, just solid guy. Which people will probably see the ads. I think by now it's getting out there with the spend we have. So you guys will probably see it. But anyways, I look for that novelty and then something that one of my other mentors, Alan Soltanich, who you know, of course, from Nothing All Back, talks about is like superstructures. And not that that's something that I think that's the name he has for it. I'm sure someone else has come up with their names for it too. But essentially, it's like things you attach your product to. So, for example, superstructure for SMMA was social media or Facebook ad agency. Like they're attaching agency model to Facebook or AI agency. They attach AI to superstructure or AI to freelancing. It's all like AI. It's really funny. It's like they just attach AI. Like AI works if you attach it to like a superstructure, right? Like that's how those offers work well. Without it, it'd just be like, okay, what am I going to do with this AI? So I look for products that attach like really strong or trendy superstructures as well that people are already interested in or see the value in. And so those are two things I look at. And then what else? The person, like why does one the person who's if I'm publishing someone, I want to look at like their goals to the product, their story. I look like people have cool stories. Like I have this lady in this one market that we're publishing. It's like a clean biz op, and she's very counterintuitive to what people in this market did, or she like didn't go to school. Like her school actually got shut down, and so then she was at the choice either like go get a part time job as like an intern or like start her own business. And she started her own business, and in like 4 years now she's doing like $100,000 profit as like a 26 or 7 year old from this clean
Wow.
biz op in like 4 years, whereas these other people spend like 60, 70, $80,000 for this degree, come
Yeah.
out, and then are working a job that's like $20 an hour or something, work like doesn't go anywhere. And so her story is so cool. I'm like, dude, I can take that story and like sell it. So I look for that as well in an offer. Like, what's the story behind how this was created?
Really awesome. Once you find those things, how do you even approach someone?
Bro, I mean, it's super. I mean, I don't know. It's really interesting. This big conversation I see is like, how do you like pitch a publishing deal? It's like, bro, it's super easy. You're going to someone, you say, hey, I'm gonna do all the marketing. I'm gonna pay for sometimes like pay for the ads. Like you'll pay for the ads. I'll pay for the ads. I'm gonna build your funnels. I'm gonna
Mhm.
package everything. I'm gonna tell you how to structure your course. I'm gonna do all of that. I'm gonna place a customer support rep, which for me is my sister. Shout out Dominica. Hired my sister. She runs our support. Girls make it. She's like 15 or 16, just making
That's so
bank at
awesome.
home, and she's on her phone
Love
just
that.
running support. It's awesome. She's so good. She like I didn't tell I was like, hey, just do support. And then like I look at her messages and she's like all polite. She's like, oh, like my apologies for this. Like I'll get this sorted out. I'm like, where did you learn this language? And she's like, oh, I just went on YouTube and like watched a video on how to be a good support rep. I'm like, dude, that's sick. And so,
You have a
anyways,
family of
I'll do
killers.
yeah, so I'll do your support rep, all everything. Like all you have to do is you have to film the product. I tell you to put together. And then like a lot of these people already have like a coaching program in the back end. Usually, if this is coaching, just keep doing your coaching. I'm going to fill your existing coaching program. All you have to do is just create this product for me on the front end. That's going to be a lead gen for your back end. And you
Mhm.
film it once and you're done. And then maybe we'll film some VSLs. Like, and I say the VSLs is just the audio. I don't need you on camera to start. Like, I'll send you a script, just record an audio. It's really easy. You can mess up. Like, I make it sound so simple to them. And I'm just like, I just kind of like say, I love your product so much. Like, if I really love it, I'll tell them, like, this is
Yeah.
awesome. I need to be a part of this. And they're going to be like flattered and like, oh my gosh, like this guy really believes in this. And they will like, yeah, come on. Like, what's the loss? Like, it's better than, or even like if you can't cover the ad spend, who cares? Like they're gonna have to go hire an agency most likely who's gonna just absolutely rip them on a stupid retainer for like 5,000 a month plus ad spend. And then like just totally not like sure their ads are profitable, but they're not gonna be
Yeah.
profitable after paying them, right? So to you, like even if you're just they're paying for ads still, at least now they're not paying you a retainer, which is also something really attractive to the people I publish. They're like, oh, whoa, you're not gonna like bill me monthly. It's like, no, like we'll do it all. So it's a very easy sell. And if you just approach them like that, I'd be shocked if they said no, as long as you seem like a solid person and whatnot. It's a pretty good deal, you know, that would be
Awesome.
hard to turn down.
Do you structure like a 50-50 deal or a specific rev share equity depending on
So I've
KPIs?
tested out a bunch. Honestly, what I'm doing now
Yeah.
is it's a little bit different from our publishing models because like when I first started off, it was just like don't pay anything up front and we'll split stuff on the back end. And then it was like maybe pay a little bit up front because now I've like got a lot more reps and like I need some buy-in from you. And then it was like people approaching me. And so now like we'll do mix where it's like a setup. Like we'll have like a
Mhm.
setup fee for like the infrastructure. Cause like just without like if I already have a bunch of offers and I'm like strictly limited to who I'm taking on, I'll have like a setup to build up the marketing infrastructure. And then it'll go strictly to just payment on the back end of like what we're getting them. Like if it's like a low ticket build. So it'll be like whatever it is, 50-50 on the back end. Sometimes it's 30, depending if like it just depends on who's responsible for what. Like some deals, my clients are paying for the ads and so I'm not like they are going to take more of the percentage home to cover that ad spend, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not having to worry about that. So it's just a balance. And so I've been testing out a lot of different deal structures. I think I've gotten it, but then it's funny because dude, you do splits and then you're like, it's just I feel like the same thing people would deal with when they have client work. It's kind of like that greed or like that, like, man,
Yeah, I feel like you do more.
I want more, right? And so I'm like,
I did all this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I'm like, how could I have 100%? No, but like, which is fine. I'm like, could I create a company and without me being the face and get 100% of it and be responsible for everything? Like, I think that's what I'm saying. Like my mass market one, that's a play. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to like the splitting. It's great right now because the client can be responsible for a lot more stuff and it's perfect for the lifestyle I want. But again, same thing happens. There's cons and whenever money gets involved, people get messy. And I tell it to my clients, I'm like, guys, like or I publish, I'm like, hey, once I start making money, you're gonna want to get me out of this. And like I totally understand that. It's happened, it's all good, like whatever. Just know I could just go publish a competitor to you just like I did with you, and you would have to compete against me. So I kind of like, hey, I could just replace you. Like I can just go find someone else, same
I
offer,
just need
same
a
structure.
face.
Yeah, yeah, different face. I'll just put AI in. Just kidding. And then I mean I'm a good person to them, and we treat them well, and so they don't want to leave. Like I also try to publish people I actually enjoy and that have good morals and qualities, and so we haven't
But it's
had any
still
like
tough. It's still
crazy.
tough. Like the longer you work together and the more money gets involved, it's so tough.
Yep, it's gonna happen, but I'm like I know it's just what I've accepted. I'm okay with, and so I'm like. But that's the thing. It's like in my back of my mind. As long as you know, like, oh, I could just go do another offer, you won't be like afraid of that. So it's like fine.
Yeah. I had this, I kind of accidentally published an offer in 2019 or so. I made the guy
Okay.
about 160 K pounds, so UK pounds. So that's what is 180, 200K USD or something. And then we had a bit of an argument about $1,000. And then the whole offer, he was ready to shut down the whole offer over 1,000 USD. I'm like, God damn, my guy, I just made you a lot of money. You didn't do anything. All I needed you to do was just show up. And that's when I realized, like, oh shit, when money is involved, people become very, very stupid sometimes.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Oh well, it's part of the game, I guess. It
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah.
Do you have like an exit plan, or do you get some equity where like, oh cool, if you want me out, that's fine, but you've got to pay me?
I haven't put that in my contract yet. Um, just because I'm kind of, like I said, the mindset I just go to a different offer. So I
Hmm.
just have choice. I'm just kind of like, if you want me out, I'll just like, good luck. Like I'm out, And I I haven't even done yet where it's like I own all the assets or whatever. Like some people do that.
Yeah,
I just find it scares people and it kind of will turn deals off. Like there's a little too much like it's gonna be a tricky relationship. Some people figure like it's fine. Like you can make it seem like it makes sense to your client. It's just not how I personally do it. But again,
hmm,
that's just because I have so many offer ideas or opportunities where I can just be like, all right, let me just go to a different one if that happens. And the people I publish, I really like and have trust in, and they're solid people. So the deals in that way, I don't like, oh, if you leave, I take all your assets and delete them and they're gone. It's like whatever. Like they're not like the people I publish to, like they can't do it themselves. Like that's another thing I look at. It's like they really get the product, but they do not know. They don't want to touch. They have no experience like
yeah.
do the marketing stuff. So it's like even if they had the assets, they wouldn't even know what to do with it. So I just kind of manage that risk in other ways.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, again, I think the next place is getting to something that's more mass market where I have all the ownership. And so I won't have to like worry about that like equity, like you got to pay buy me out or something. So
Gotcha. Yeah, interesting. It's also something I've been thinking about lately, where I'm like, well, maybe next step I can like buy equity of a company, and then I'm just gonna stick around, gonna fix everything, optimize everything,
yeah.
gonna probably stick around for at least 3, 4, or 5 years. But then I want an exit. I don't think
Yes, yeah.
there's anything where I'm like, oh, I want to be
That'd be
part of this
sick.
for the rest of my life.
Yeah, dude, that's the thing, dude. I think in publishing, the mistake people make is they try to publish people that don't have momentum. It's like you want to, like you're saying, if you get equity in a company, they have some sort of momentum, like they've already started. It's just they're kind of broken pieces. So for me, I look for creators who have had momentum and then hit a wall, and then they're like, we don't know what to do, and then it's like, all right, hey, I got you. And then they're like, yes, and they trust you more. And there's less I have to kind of like get up and going. And so that's another thing I look for too when I'm, putting an offer together or publishing.
That's awesome. I've got to think about it with Instagram and stuff because I feel like there are a lot of people which kind of hit a wall and then they're super stuck and just make some tweaks here and then within a week double. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
cool stuff. I think we've almost reached an hour, so maybe one more
Yeah.
question. I feel like a lot of younger guys absolutely love you. So, do you have any specific advice for them? Like, what do they need to do to get to your level?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. So the first thing I always tell younger guys to do is read the book of Ecclesiastes. It's in the Old Testament of the Bible. Again, I mentioned before, it's written by King Solomon, who is the richest, wisest king ever. Like people know it, and like it's funny because people reference Proverbs a lot. I don't know if you like heard people reference like Proverbs or like a lot of entrepreneurs will like reference Proverbs because it talks about like stuff like with wealth or wisdom, like how to make money, all the good stuff, like the positive stuff, and they'll reference that a ton, to, like hype people up. And it's true, it is like it's good wisdom, but they never mention the book of Ecclesiastes. And the book of Ecclesiastes is after King Solomon has made all his money. He's like the biggest he is, and he kind of hits that wall where he's like, I tried girls, drinking. I've tried real estate, slaves or employees. I've tried livestock. Right?
Employees.
He talks, yeah, which today's employee, right? He built the team, the company, all this stuff, and the book just talks about he's like it's all meaningless, and so he gets there and he's like this is all meaningless, And it's funny because a lot of people always make the argument, it's like, oh, you say money can't buy happiness, like you haven't made enough money, or you like, you need to make more
Can
money, you need
always
to get
say that. Yeah.
levels. Yeah, right. And it's like, okay, well, this King Solomon, who historically we know existed, like there's proof you can literally tell, like back then, like the wealth that was in the area, like he was a real person. It's not some like mythical thing. Real king, most wealthiest king, who had the most money, you can outspend and buy more happiness than anyone can today. Um, like if he got to that point and realized everything's meaningless, like he tapped things out to the ultimate level. Like he had like 900 wives or something or concubines. Like bro was
Shit, my man
wheeling
was
like
busy.
crazy. Yeah. So like, don't even tell me like, yeah, that you haven't made enough. Like this dude's the top level, right? And he says it's all meaningless. And I won't spoil the end of it because I'd like love people to read it. But in the last chapter, he kind of comes to a conclusion about what life is about, how you can be happy, and he kind of like comes to the end of it. But he talks about you should enjoy your toil and like enjoy working, like we were talking about as well. But I really encourage young guys to read that first because a lot of young guys come into this game because they want that. They want the girls, they want the money, they want the wealth, they want whatever it is.
Yeah.
They chase it, and then they realize it's meaningless, and they all fail and reset. Like this is all nothing. And for me, I kind of got there. Like my whole thing was like I want to make six figures, so I don't have to take an ACT test and go to college. I hit that, and then I was like, what next? And so I was like kind of hit that wall, but luckily I wasn't pursuing like the other stuff that really could derail my life. It
Yeah.
was literally just not to go to college. Like it was literally just not to take a test. So I got
There are
there and I'm
no
like, hey, I'm gonna have
900
to take this.
wives involved.
Yeah, no 900 wives, just a test. And I got there and I was like, dude, like what now? And so I had to really process why I love this game, what I wanted to do, what I enjoyed, what was the purpose of life? Is there something more than this? And you really kind of get out of just this small little bubble of making money. And so I always just tell guys I mentor, talk to read that book, and it really kind of opens their eyes. And then it allows them to kind of remove all the desire for those things and then focus on like, what do you actually like in this game? What do you enjoy? And then also like, sure, have those things, like not the 900 wives, but yeah, maybe have the wealth, have the this, have that,
Nine is
but like
plenty.
not chasing that. Yeah, maybe like maybe just 600 of them. Just kidding. Just one. Uh, or two for all the Muslim brothers out. This kidding. Just one. Uh, but just do that, and like, how do you have that balance? So that's the advice I'd give to all the guys. Otherwise, you'll just chase after that stuff, and it'll be meaningless. Your life will feel purposeless, and you'll feel lonely, and you'll keep going on this constant cycle, and you'll just get burnt out. Like, there's things you can find to enjoy in this game that don't just relate to that. And then yeah, have fun. Like, I'm not saying to sit in your basement all day. Like this weekend, like me and my wife were able to like go out for a 1 year, went up north, got this beautiful like luxury cabin, and we're able to just be with each other and off our phones and hang out. And it was awesome. And like we're going on, like it was funny, like I was talking to my wife, and she always like, I never got to travel out. I never get to travel out. And then this year it's like already been to Florida, gone to Arizona, like we're going to California, and then we're going like Dubai later in September. We're
Oh
like in
shit.
that, but Dubai, that one's not a fun trip. That's for like missions and meeting with people there and supporting them. But still, like we're traveling and we still gotta do all this fun stuff. And so I'm like, not saying just be bored and don't like go do stuff, but like you have to remove the chase of all these things that are meaningless. So that's the advice I'd give to young guys who are listening to this.
Awesome, awesome, dude. I love that. That's really amazing. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
great questions.
before,
Thank you for this.
yeah, no worries. Before we go off, where can people find you?
I mean, on Facebook, you used to have Joshua Gavin, kind of where I hang out a lot. And then, yeah, that's it. Again, I don't have a website or anything, so just look me up on Facebook, and you can message me
Your
there.
offer was, let's see, low ticket membership?
Lowticketoffers.com is the domain I own, and that'll take you to
Lowticketoffers.com.
our school group.
Let me just share my screen really quick. Just awesome stuff. I am gonna join. I don't know if I can
Whoa, wait,
immediately.
why aren't you in there? Oh, let's get your card number. Let's go. Just kidding.
I'll join after the call. I'll join after
Everyone,
the call.
quick screenshot. Clip
But,
that. Let's go.
all right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, let me
Appreciate it, dude.
there. All right, cool. And again, thank you so much. This was one of my favorite calls ever.